Hello everyone and welcome to episode 11 of Enigmatica 2 Expert. How are you doing? So in between the episodes I was supposed to do a lot of stuff and gather a lot of things related to applied energistics, which I did. The problem is some of the recipes have been changed and I did not see them beforehand. So this is the recipe to make an assembler. It's going to be fun. But in any case, we are progressing and I already have all the controllers that we're going to need, but I think building a base could take some time. If you guys remember, last episode we managed to make calcium sulfate, but the system that we made for it is not fully self-sufficient. So we are missing sulfur as well as diorite. So I have prepared the shulker box and we're going to complete the system. Stop breaking my wall, please, 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 please. A problem that I was having with this system in between the episodes was that these internal buffers would get full and then the whole process would stop. So what I did is that I set filters for everything that we're not going to need, and I'm just keeping this one, which I don't know how to pronounce, but it sounded important. So I'm keeping this one, the rest we're voiding. The rest is just like hydrogen and I don't know, excess oxygen and so on. I also built a dynamic tank from Mekanism, which is a multi-block structure just like the induction matrix but for holding fluids. So you're going to need 2 valves and just a bunch of casing. You can also put glasses here so that you can see the fluid inside, and I just thought it looks cool. I don't know how much it will hold, but so far we have 53 buckets and we don't even see the bar here, so this should have a big capacity. At least I think. This is the first time I'm using it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the reason that I'm holding the hydrofluoric acid is that I'm using it as a fuel inside our smelteries here. So it has a higher melting speed than liquid starlight that we were using previously, and it's easy to obtain because we're getting it from that system. It's a byproduct and I don't have to come up with a new system for it. So our first order of business is to provide this one with diorite, which we can easily do using an igneous extruder, and we also upgrade it so that it works a little bit faster. And this one should be getting diorite. Yes. The last thing that we need to do in order to make this system complete is to provide this smelter with sulfur. So there are too many ways to do that, but I think I found the best way. We're going to need another rock crusher with granite, and that will give us sulfur. And the best part is it will also give us this. And this is another ingredient that we're going to need in order to make the elite plating. So we need to make granite, and we also need another rock crusher, which we put it here. And the best part is now it's symmetrical. So with these few changes, the setup is now complete. We are getting diorite, granite, and we are making all the things that we're going to need. And we're also getting some acid, which I use inside the smeltery. And this looks very cool. I love this thing. I just have to decorate it a little bit, but other than that, we are actually done. And we also need to speed upgrade some of this stuff because they are very slow, but already it uses a lot of power. Yep. And now we can make the elite plating. That is very good. We are generating 500,000 RF here, and I thought since I'm not using it, let's make some UU matter and put it inside the tank so that we can use it later on. The problem is I realized that this thing is using 500,000 RF. It's actually a little bit more than what we're producing, so yeah. But it's okay, we're getting UU matter, that's good. So something fun, the universal cable that was here, I just switched it with a cryo-stabilized flux duct because I thought it's causing lag, and suddenly this thing dropped to, I don't know, 400,000. I don't know why. I didn't change anything, the only thing I changed was this one. So if I put the universal cable back, oh, I broke it, oh my god. Okay, we're good. So if I put the universal cable back, then will this go back to... yeah. What's the difference? So someone told me in the comments that if I convert scrap into scrap boxes, this will work much faster, and that is very true. So the amplifier is 45,000. If you put scrap, it's 5,000. And this is how fast we're getting UU matter. That's awesome. I think. Alright guys, today is the day that we are going to set up our void ore miners. It is an amazing day. This is episode 11 and I thought we should also start making our new base. And of course the center of our base will be a 5x5x5 ME controller. This is not good. The thing that I had in my brain would not fit there, so I moved it here. This is the rough shape of the base. We will have assemblers here and I think this number should be enough. We will have our controller here, which has to go down by 1 or 2 blocks at least, because I made a mistake. Here we will have our drives, our CPUs, some storage monitors, and all the devices and machines will be in the basement, which I have not built yet. In order to make a Draconic core in this mod pack, we are going to need a bunch of stuff. With our last setup, now that we have the crystal binder because we have calcium sulfate, we can make the elite plating. Dislocator, genetic processor, literite crystals, and blocks of draconium are easy peasy. We need plutonium. A block of plutonium is craftable in this mod pack. We have everything except tiny piles of plutonium. How do you get plutonium? You get it from depleted fuel rods. So how do you get these depleted fuel rods? You need to run an IC2 nuclear reactor. I don't want to do that. So I came up with another solution. I don't know how to run the reactor, so what I want to do is very simple. We can put a depleted uranium nuclear fuel inside a fuel reprocessor from Nuclearcraft, and it has a chance of giving us plutonium. So this can be done inside a fission reactor from Nuclearcraft, and in order to make the fuel, we're going to need tiny clumps of uranium-235, which we already have, and we are going to need uranium-238 from Industrial Craft, not the Nuclearcraft version. How do we get this? So instead of processing everything, we can use a chisel. We put a block of uranium here, we get the Industrial Craft version out, and if we put it inside the crafting table, we get uranium-238. Oops, oh crap, I need to make a hazmat suit. How long is it? Oh, 7 seconds. So you get the idea. If I manage to make that fuel, then we are good. So we make the fuel, we put it inside the reactor, and theoretically we will get depleted uranium nuclear fuel. And now if we put this inside the fuel reprocessor, we should get plutonium. Great, without the reactor. Hello, how are you? So I did not know that plutonium is also radioactive. That is very nice, but we can now make a block of plutonium. Yes! You know, it's 2 minutes of radiation. I need a hazmat suit. And now we can make a Draconic core. So now the question is, how do we automate the process of making plutonium? You can use UU matter, but the issue is that I think we are going to need UU matter for a lot of stuff. So if we can automate this process, why not? We can save some UU matter. So there is a block called auto chisel, and if we give it the blocks that we want it to chisel, as well as a chisel, and give it the outcome, it will chisel it for us. Alright guys, in order to avoid making a reactor from IC2, which I don't know how to make and I don't know how it operates, this is the design I came up with in order to get plutonium. So the way this works is that this crafter gets uranium, converts it into blocks. These blocks go inside this auto chisel, they get converted into uranium blocks from IC2. Then they come into this crafter, they get converted into uranium-238, which we combine it with uranium-235, which we are getting from this isotope separator. We make the nuclear fuel, it goes inside the reactor, which is here. Then we get a depleted uranium fuel, which comes into this fuel reprocessor, and we get a teeny tiny piece of plutonium. We also get 4 pieces of uranium-238, which come into this drawer and goes back into the system if we have any excess amount. Yeah, it's a very stupid setup, and it produces 1 plutonium every, I don't know, 40-45 seconds. It's not good. I did all of this in order to avoid using UU matter in order to duplicate plutonium, because I'm not generating enough RF, and that reactor which we have over there, which generates 500,000 RF, can only power one mass fabricator which makes 1 millibucket of UU matter every second. We need to duplicate a lot of stuff and we're not generating enough RF. So this is why. In my country we have a saying which, if you translate it into English, means die once, cry once. I'm going to have to do something which I didn't want to do, but apparently I don't have a choice, otherwise this series is never going to end. Alright guys, by now you should have figured out what I want to do. So the idea is to make a giant reactor. Everything is full, so we have fuel rods, we have casing, and I also have to dismantle that reactor because that also has, I don't know, maybe more than 1,000 casings and 650 fuel rods. So that will be also dismantled. And this is why this episode is taking this long, because I have to craft everything. And just to show you, so I needed to make a lot of graphite, and this is how much coal I have. In comparison, this is the amount of iron that I have, 51,000. And I used most of the iron for crafting steel and alloys from mechanisms, so you can see how much resources that I've wasted. I also had to make some few changes. So for instance, if we come to our ore processing room, I had to add more devices. I upgraded them to advanced tier. This is now 3 rows, and we also have energy crystals from Draconic Evolution. We had 4 IO crystals from a quest and 4 of these wireless energy crystals. So I combined 2 of the IOs to make a relay, and now we're powering everything using crystals from Draconic Evolution. And making a crystal binder was actually very easy. It didn't even need a Draconic core, so that was nice. I also made an additional digital miner in the deep dark, and we can go and visit it. So one of them is here, the other one is there, and this is the tunnel that I mined. It was not fun, but this is how fast we are getting ores. That's fun. And in that time we almost have 85 buckets of UU matter. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to turn it off. Oh, and I also made quantum entangle porters. We already had dragon hearts, and that was an easy thing to craft. So we're going to turn it off because now we need to save energy. I want to tear down the reactor. I think I have everything I need, so we just grab U, which is, well, it's not full of uranium, but I think it has a few tens of thousands. So we go to the end because this thing is going to be laggy and I prefer to do it in the end. Hi. So this is going to be the base of our reactor. It's 31 by 31 and it's going to go up by 47 blocks. The max size reactor is actually 32 by 32, but it's an even number and I wanted to go with an odd number because the controller should be in the center, otherwise, you know, OCD kicks in and it's not good. Anyway, when I was looking online, I realized that nobody knows how to make a reactor which is very fuel efficient and is very powerful. When you see the designs online, they are actually concerning the small reactors, the teeny tiny ones, which generate a few RF, and that's not gonna cut it. We need millions, and this is the most efficient design I came up with. So how do you make your reactor more fuel efficient? Fuel efficiency depends on the heat of the reactor, and the way that the reactor creates heat is through these fuel rods. So the more fuel rods you have, the more heat you generate and the more fuel you consume and less efficient your reactor is. How do you get rid of that heat? These fuel rods will look 4 blocks away in cardinal directions, so north, east, south, west, and look for a coolant, and then they will transfer that heat to the coolant, it goes to the casing and exits the reactor. this is why I have 4 blocks space between the rods and the casing, these rods and these rods, and you know, and so on and so forth. Also, these are 5 by 5, so even the center one can have access to the coolant outside and gets rid of the heat. I think this is the most efficient way of doing it. I used the simulator and, well, this was the best. I don't know, we just have to stack it up 47 blocks? Hi. You know guys, at a certain stage it begins to hit you that you're going crazy because your reactor is actually much bigger than your base. Anyway, this is the moment of truth. Let's see if it forms. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, that's good. So I did not mess up the dimensions. Should we give it a test? It doesn't have coolant. I have a liquefied ender, but that I should do off camera. But I really want to see how much power this thing generates. Or maybe we should put the coolant. Huh. So the builder's wand does not work with cobblestone. Why? I dropped a bucket. Well, I have to make sure that there are no more stones left, because otherwise if I put the casing back on, this is not gonna form, and it will be a pain to figure it out later. So I'll bring you back shortly. So this thing is not forming. I missed a block. Oh boy. But you should be able to find me for it, right? Yeah, we have him. So I'm guessing now you should form, yes. So this thing takes 3,000? No, 30,000? No, I don't know how much it takes. Okay, we have to wait, I guess. So the cache got empty. It wasn't full anyway, so I hooked it up to our ender chest, which we're making uranium with it. Let's turn it on, I guess. Don't crash my game, please. To be honest with you guys, I was expecting more. This is 4 million RF. And yeah, this is how fast we're going to need uranium. Alright guys, our uranium production had to be upgraded because our reactor is consuming a lot of uranium. So I had to upgrade this system. Now we have 26 Gordon clochers which make end essence, and the rest of the setup is basically the same. We make end stone, then we hammer it, then we make end gravel here, and then we sieve the end gravel, the compressed version, we make the uranium ore, and then we triple it using this mechanism, which we also have it at our ore tripling setup. This is how fast I'm making uranium. The reactor is off, so this is the rate that we're getting uranium, but it's not enough. I just noticed that these have a huge backlog, so maybe I can add another row of these machines. Well, the problem is that this guy is consuming almost 3 ingots per tick, which means 60 ingots per second. And obviously we're not producing it fast enough, so it's going to be a problem. My other problem is that I cannot make another system using end seeds because the infusion thing, this guy, I got some of them from the quest, and we also killed a bunch of withers, so I could make them. But the problem is you're going to need an ender amethyst, and an ender amethyst comes from the laser drill. If you want to make this one, this is kind of expensive, and it also needs an ender amethyst. So I cannot make more end seeds. That's going to be a problem. We can mine the end for end stone using a builder block, but well guys, I just realized that we're not doing that bad, because if we double our production, this should be fine. So I need to get this. We need to make a laser drill, and that doesn't seem that difficult. In order to make the laser drill, we're going to need some iridium, so I had to set this thing up again temporarily. Luckily, when you break the pattern storage, it holds the patterns, so I didn't have to scan them again. And now I'm guessing you should be able to make some iridium for me? No? Why no? Ah, too many upgrades. Okay, that's good. I also read that you can duplicate dragon hearts. Apparently you can. That's good, but it needs 2 buckets. Okay, can you make one? Yes, you can. Okay, it took a long time and it takes a lot of energy, but it's better than killing a dragon. So I thought we should also duplicate some dragon hearts because each quantum entangler portal requires a dragon heart. And that's not very fun. You can also convert the hearts of other dragons from ice and fire to this kind of dragon heart, but they're hard to find. I killed a lot of them and there are none in our immediate vicinity. We have 66 buckets left and yeah, that should be enough. Alright guys, now that we have the Ender Amethyst, we should be able to make the ultimate infusion stone, which allows us to make as much as NCs as we need and make enough uranium. At least double the production and we should be able to run our reactor indefinitely. The problem is making that stone requires some mana, which we don't have. So I could not do it during this time because making the reactor itself was an active job. I had to make a lot of tough alloys, I had to make a lot of ferroboron, I had to make casings and rods, and that needed 7,500 casings plus 6,000 rods, so you can guess. Anyway, I think it's also time to wrap up the episode for now, and next episode we will generate mana, we will figure out how to generate enough uranium to run the reactor, and progress through the pack. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, bye bye.